Hello everybody, my name is Deepak. I've grown a team from 0 to 250 people, and here I talk about how to build a great culture in your team. A lot of people use this word very loosely. They feel culture is something that you feel. The culture is something that you see everywhere. Some people also say that there's no culture in my team, but the truth is culture is there, whether you want it or not. There is a culture always there. You can try to deny it, but this is the only thing that will set you to achieve the success that you want from your team. It does not matter you have a 2-people team or a 100-people team. Culture is always there. Some people, as I told you, say that our team has no culture, but I always tell them, if you are not feeling the culture, if you feel there is no culture, then probably you have a culture of indifference where nobody cares about no one. So for all of you who don't know what is a culture, culture is a way how work gets done in your team. What does it mean? It actually means that what are the processes that are there in your team? What are the behavior in your team? How your team take action, or how you yourself as a leader of your team take action. The secret is the culture can be engineered, and I'm here to tell you how it can be done. But the bigger question is, when things are going fine, culture looks all the same. In any company, it looks all the same. But when the things are not going as planned, then is when the hypocrisy arises. Then is when people start taking actions that are completely contradictory to the things that you used to say way back. Let's take an example. Last year was pretty tough for a lot of companies. Now, if you are part of that company, and a company says that we care for our people, we care for our customer, and during this tough time, they make a decision to do a layoff. Let's suppose this is a 10,000 employee company, and they take a decision to lay off 2,000 people. I'm not making this up. There have been a lot of companies last year that actually did this. If you are saying you care, you have to take some decision that actually show that you care during this tough time. That means, rather than actually laying off the 2,000 people, why not leader come forward and say that I'm going to take a cut? And if that is also not sufficient to save the company, he openly conveys the problem that the company is going through to all the employees and request, can we all take a 30% pay cut so that we don't have to lay off those 2,000 people? And believe me, if all the employees, all the 10,000 employees take a 30% pay cut, they get ready to do it, then the bond that you're going to create during this time is going to last for such a long duration of time, and it's going to create a huge impact on the company. Imagine having 8,000 people who are afraid when they're going to lose a job in comparison to having 10,000 people who are all trying to do everything to save the company, and not just to save, but actually to get out of this bad phase. That is where you create great companies. That is where the change comes up, and that is where you create an organization that is difficult to beat by any competitor. There's a very famous saying here: show me an organization in distress and I can tell you how its culture looks like. Now, if you want to understand this culture thing, it is no different than a personal behavior. So let's imagine you going to a restaurant and you receiving a dish that you didn't like quite well. Now, do you start screaming at the waiter, or you request the waiter to change the dish and explain the problem that you're going through? Now, hear this very carefully. Do you explain your expectation and request the waiter to change, or you start screaming at the waiter and you get very angry? Now, organizations or the teams are not very different from a personal behavior. They are an entity in themselves. They have their own kind of mind, and that's why they also behave in a certain way. A lot of people think that, we don't have a time and the money to build a culture. Actually, the truth is, culture doesn't require time and money. You don't need to take out money from something and create house parties or take people to a trip. That is not a culture. That is the definition of culture that has been shown to us by New York Times, Washington Post, talking about how Google campus is. But that is not what defines the culture. How people think about each other, how people think about their work, how people take decision is what defines culture. What nobody tells us, that the culture is absolutely free. Some people ask me that how a culture is created. Generally, the culture is created by the founder or the first team leader that starts coaching the team. So these are the two people that are majorly responsible for building the culture. And what happens in the first go is the culture becomes the behavior that is shown by the founder or by the team leader. So how you take the decision, how you interact with the team, how you think about the work is automatically replicated by the team members and it spreads. So if you want to know why your culture or why your team culture is like that, it is basically because of the first person who started building the team. But can you change the culture in your team? The answer is yes, you can change. So if you are part of a very large organization and you feel you want to have a different type of culture in your team, you can do it. And there are a lot of people who have done it like that as well. What you really need is to specifically list down what are the things you want to reward and what are the things you don't want to reward. What are the things you don't want to have in your team so you don't reward them or you penalize those behavior. And that's why you would see there are many McDonald's stores where the employees are very happy. You know, they will treat you with a huge smile and they would love to take your order, they would love to change your order, and they will love to talk to you. But at the same time, you will go to the other stores where you will find the employees are like indifferent to you. You don't like the vibe. And that is majorly because of the manager that is there of each franchisee store. And that's why you like some and you don't like some. Some people say that how can we change if the leadership does not agree to the kind of culture that we want? Like we want people to be taken care of. And the leadership feels that we want the emphasis to be somewhere else and people can come and go. We don't care about them. The answer to this is that you can change even if the leadership does not agree. But you have to start small. You have to start with one person and you do care about that one person. You get involved with him at a personal level and slowly increase that to the 2 individuals and you slowly increase it to 3. And then the good culture is very contagious. It automatically spreads. The one with whom you started, he's going to start following the same with the other, and slowly you will see that your whole team is changed and does not have the previous culture that you wanted to avoid having. So it's very much like a drip coffee. You know, it starts by dripping, it takes its own time, but in the end, you get a very good, delicious coffee that you really love to have. So a long time back, somebody gave me this tip that if you want to change few things in your culture, what you do, that whenever you see somebody doing something good that you want to be part of the culture, you take a post-it note, you write a good thing about it, and you paste it on his desk. And whenever you see something you don't like, you do the same, write the name, and you say that, hey, can we really change it? Because this is something that does not resonate with everyone, and you paste it. You do this for a couple of months and you will see slowly people start doing the things that you're appreciating and they stop doing the things that you're not appreciating. And that is how it shows what is rewarded here. I did the same. If you want a culture where people ask questions, you have to reward people who are asking questions rather than putting them down, which is generally done in our school. So slowly, when you will start rewarding people for their questions, more people will start asking questions. And that is how you will have a very curious organization. And any new person who is not that curious, if he enters your organization, the culture will push him to become curious. And that is how great organizations are created, that they change people according to them. They instill good habits in them and they survive much longer than anybody else in the industry. So company culture is what you say and how you say it. The company culture is where you cut the corners. The company culture is whom you hire, whom you promote, and whom you fire. Company culture is what you fight for all cost. Company culture is how you behave when the chips are down. Company culture is what, when, and how you celebrate it. Company culture is how you respond to the losses and mistakes, the worst behavior you accept and the good behavior you reward, the voices you amplify, how you handle differences of opinion and disagreements, where you spend your money and time, what gets discussed in the cafeteria and water cooler, what gets discussed in the open and behind the closed doors, the exceptions you allow and the things you never budge from. So to summarize, to go fast, go alone. To go far, go together. That's all it is. Let's build great culture in our teams. Thank you, everyone. If you'd like to hear more about how to build great culture, please like this, please follow, and let's together build great teams.